Welcome to the Guild-wide Tomb of Sargeras prep meeting. We're happy to see so many of you here tonight. Like, really, we didn't think we'd get this many to turn out. There seems to be two questions floating in the air right now. First, why should we care about Tomb of Sargeras, and why everyone's so worked up about it? Second, what are we doing about Tomb? Well, we're here to answer both of these questions.
So the first question was, why should you care about Tomb? Well, the first answer is easy. It's new content that's exciting because, let's face it, the Broken Shore was really boring. So Tomb of Sargeras should be more entertaining than, say, Nether Shard farming, right? But to really understand why everyone's so excited about it, you have to look at our guild vision. And I'm going to repeat that for you here. Our guild vision is that we are a social raiding guild that was created with the purpose of making this server horde-centric. We accomplish this by first becoming the #1 guild on the server. This means progressive mythic raid content and obtaining server first. This is done through recruitment, player training and gearing, along with a strong social aspect to keep you, our members, happy and active. Okay? So, Tomb is our first chance to show this server why we're the best guild. We want Realm first, and everyone in this guild, whether you realize it or not, is contributing to that goal. Some of you are on the progression raid team, some of you are on the casual raid team, some of you donate your resources, whether it be money or mats, and some of you donate your time by running dungeons and quests with guildies. Every member of this guild is a living example of skill, dedication, and the kindness and patience that the Just Us League has become known for on this server. We've worked hard to get where we are. We've defeated every horde guild on this server with less than half of the time that they had to play. We have defeated a total of 11 mythic bosses at a lower eye level and in less time than everyone else in our realm. There are only 3 alliance guilds between us and Realm First, and this is the time in Tomb of Sargeras when we start on equal footing. This is our time. This is our realm, and it's just us. And so what are we prepared to do about this? I'm going to get down off my soapbox now and let Belle tell you what we're going to do.
Alright everyone, for the first 2 weeks of Tomb of Sargeras, we'll be in an all-out assault. There will be raids running 7 days a week. Casual will be Wednesday, Friday, and Monday. And as always, everyone is welcome at Casual. Progression will be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. All raids will begin at 8 p.m. server time, as is our standard. If you need gems, food, enchants, flasks, or potions, whether you're in Casual or you're in Progression, get with the raid leaders and they can get them for you. If you can't get to your raid leaders, then get to an officer or VRI. As a reminder, the raid leader for Casual is Rubber Ducky. The raid leaders for Progression are Lay and Zeb. After that 2 weeks, though, Casual will be moving back to where they supply their own again. Due to the extra strain on guild resources this will be causing, we'll be requesting mats via the guild message of the day. Another resource we need is a few people who have the RAM capacity to record while gaming, especially in our Progression group, for all the Tomb raids. We would also like to have someone who's familiar with editing to help us go through these recordings and cut down to the parts we need to help develop strategies, pinpoint mechanics issues, and perhaps even post to the guild website as an advertisement. And speaking of guild resources, we're currently short on our most valuable resource, officers. We need 2 officers with the mining skill for the guild. Please remember that the officer position is not ceremonial. Our officers sacrifice a substantial amount of time in exchange for having a direct influence on the shape and progression of this guild. It's not about the amount of time you've been with the guild. It's about putting the best people in the job. Our officers work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep this guild running, and always put the guild above their own interests. If you think you're strong enough to help us forge a whole new way for WoW guilds to run, then come talk to me or V after the meeting.
Loot Council will be used for all raids for the first 2 weeks. So after that, Casual will go back to personal loot. And Lay and Zeb are going to talk to us a little bit about how Loot Council functions and why we're choosing to use that for the first 2 weeks. Lay and Zeb.
Okay, so let me go into, first of all, an overall of what Loot Council is, why you would use it, versus personal loot, because so many people are familiar with personal loot. Just to explain the whole concept. So it's basically Guildmaster loot. If you've used that, basically the person who's assigned as loot master will hand out loot instead of people randomly getting it themselves. Each person will have a 20% chance of generating loot, but it's additive, right? So like 5 people, there's a 100% chance of 1 piece of loot. 6 people, there's a 100% chance for 1 piece, and then another 20% chance for a second piece to drop. This goes all the way up. Obviously, in a mythic raid, there's always 20 people, so you always are going to get 4 pieces of loot. So it has to, using loot council versus using personal loot has to do with the kind of the goals of the raid and where you want your raid team to go, right? So if you use personal loot, it's completely fair in the sense that it's completely random, right? So like there can't possibly someone like unfairly giving out loot to themselves or their friends. Loot council is not like that. You could potentially have a corrupt loot council, right? In the way we do loot councils, we have 5 members of the loot council basically decide on who's getting the loot, right? So you could potentially have some bias in there. The thing is, though, the important concept to note is that loot council is about assigning loot for what is best for the raid, right? Like you do not own your own loot, right? The loot that drops in the raid is for the raid. So the idea is that you get 5 people who have, heavily indebted themselves in the raid and care about where it's going, and they can decide who this is going to, where it will serve the best, right? And that's the whole idea behind loot council, right? Just because a piece drops and it's good for you doesn't mean it's necessarily best for the raid, or just because it's good for that other guy doesn't mean it's going to be best for the raid. We have a PowerPoint slide. I'll post a view link for it in the raid information tab after this. We might actually have it posted up already, but either way, I'll make sure it's posted that we're kind of going off of this. But the main idea is that loot belongs to the raid and the guild, not the individual. The reason we give out loot is not so that individual can benefit. It's so that the raid team will get resources allocated to the correct spot so that we can clear content even faster going forward. Okay, I already explained personal versus master loot. Zeb, do you want to explain just the loot priority? How we actually decide who gets what piece of loot?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, so the loot priority is basically based on like a effective or unexpected value of how much value the loot is going to generate. So we basically have it's basically an equation, but it's basically a priority system on how we determine loot. So you'll understand why we make certain decisions. So really the most impactful variables is how often you can attend. We know everyone has real world shit they have to deal with. However, just the fastest way to progress through is to make sure the people who come to every raid have the most gear, because that piece of gear would be used every single raid. If someone comes to every other raid and someone comes to every raid, giving someone the piece of gear that comes every other raid, you're basically getting 50% of the value. Now, things that can like overweigh like attendance would be like usually we look at stat priority. So if it's your best in slot stats, so usually like if you're a fire mage, you need crit. So we'll basically look if it has crit. And we know the best in slot stats for almost every class and every spec. So really we want the player to understand their class enough to be able to put best in slot stats, the regular upgrade, the minor upgrade, whatever other options there are. In the similar vein, the eye level upgrade is extremely important at this point in the expansion, because basically the primary stat starts to exponentially scale a lot harder than it did at the beginning of the expansion. So basically every 10 eye levels from like 900 to 910, 910 to 920, it's just a lot larger power creep basically. So basically we want the average item level of our raid to go up, because everyone needs to be able to help meet the DPS checks, survive mechanics, so we need everyone in the raid to go up. And then the very last thing would be basically performance. So sometimes if it's a tie, we'll base it on who parses best at their eye level, but usually performance has to deal with if it's a set piece, who's going to get the best, who has the strongest set bonus, basically. Other instances of this would be if like a Draught of Souls dropped in Nighthold, that usually goes to Warrior because that item is equivalent to basically a legendary item for that class. So we will be giving loot basically based on the tendance, stat priority, like if it's your best in slaughter and upgrade, how big of an upgrade it is for you, because if we raise the floor and have our raid eye level go up, it's a lot better, and then whether or not it's best for your class or another class, usually with trinkets, relics, and tier pieces.
Okay. And thank you, Lay and Zev, for all your hard work and dedication to getting our raid teams ready for Tomb. We really do appreciate it.
By now, most of you have seen the infamous list. This list is not final. There are a few things you need to understand about that progression list.
If you were not selected to spearhead our way into Tomb, you have not been removed from progression. You have been given a few weeks to get help for your character to meet the TOS demanding requirements. Please use this time wisely. Remember, not now does not mean no to Mythic. It's to prepare you for Mythic. The progression farm is still open for all progression raiders to gear up for Mythic. If not selected, you also need to be attending the casual raids for additional practice to make sure that you're ready for the Mythic level.
If you were selected, congratulations, but don't become complacent. There's only 20 slots for Mythic Progression Team, and a lot more people than that who want to fill them. The best player will get the slot. It's not about your time and grade. It's about choosing the best players to achieve our guild vision. The steps to get you to progression.
You must approach people if you want help. You have to open your mouth and speak up so that you can get help if you want it. We are not mind readers, and we try not to approach people with, "Hey, you suck, let me help you out with that," right? Because that tends to hurt people's feelings and generally piss them off. So we try not to do that. But it's up to you to show some initiative and seek out, help to play your character better.
Please coordinate with your class specialist to schedule a time convenient for both parties.
Yeah, don't expect them to just drop what they're doing right then and help you out right that second, right? You've got to schedule that time. The biggest thing I can tell you, if you want help with your class or if you want to get better, is to get in Discord. I don't care who you are in this guild, you should be getting in Discord. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is where the majority of experts hang out, and you will always find helpful guild mates and officers in the chat almost all day and all night. If you want help or you just need to run through some content, this is the fastest means to accomplishing that.
Hey, you can try out the Brawlers Guild if you're having trouble with mechanics. It's really good practice. It'll teach you how to play your class while moving and doing increasing difficulty level mechanics. Be on the lookout in July for classes on all the roles within WoW. Tanks, healers, melee, and ranged DPS.
Practice, practice, practice. Run LFRs for practice. If you are not running LFRs every chance you get, you're doing it wrong. It's not about getting the gear. It's about getting the experience in a raid environment. You should run all 3 raids on LFR every week while trying to get into progression.
Because if you can keep your DPS up while those screw-ups are completely clusterfucking that raid, you should be able to do it fine with people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, and though no one else does mechanics in LFR, just try to do the mechanics that you understand.
Exactly. And show your commitment level by doing as many of the steps as we just talked about.
The Tomb of Sargeras cometh. You are not prepared. But have no fear, Lord Illidan knows the way. Or you could just watch the videos of the tomb that we've posted and pinned in the raid tab of Discord, and we put them on the website as well. You can see those links, all of them, in the raid tab of Discord. We put the links and the path to follow when you get to the website. This is a requirement for all raiders. We expect you to watch the videos.
Guys, we know that life comes first, and everyone will probably not be able to make all 7 days of raiding. but we are asking for a higher commitment level for the first 2 weeks of Tomb than we normally do. The faster we can push through Heroic and get into Mythic, the better chance we'll have of achieving at Realm first, and showing the server who's the best. And the answer is always just us.
All right. That's it, y'all. We appreciate your time. We're going to open up the floor now for questions and any other things that you might want to talk about.
I'd like to add something.
Go for it.
We have groups that run Mythics, Mythic Plus, any, dungeon that you want to get, to get, odds and end pieces to finish off your gear all week, every week. We always meet our Mythic levels every week, very quickly. And if you want to get in on those Mythic runs, Mythic Pluses, or whatever it might be, speak up. Because like she said, we're not mind readers. I always look for people in guild before I will ever pug anybody. And I normally have a lot of the same people coming because they speak up. And if I see somebody that hasn't normally been to Mythics with me, I'm Jugs, by the way, I will pick you up. I don't care what item level you are. If you're low DPS, if you're low heal, we will make it work and acquire you the gear that you need to run it on a proper level at a proper pace, but you have to speak up. When somebody, says, hey, look, I'm running Mythic Pluses for the next 5 hours, get in on that, because if you don't, you're just missing out. You're hurting yourself.
Adding in on that, that's exactly what I'm doing after this. I'll be tanking them, so feel free to message me.
And say your name so people know who you are.
Look, so I'll type it in the general chat here.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
What days did you say casual was on? It was Wednesday, Friday, and Monday?
Correct. Wednesday, Friday, Monday will be casual.
There's no way I can.
Thank you.
But what days you could be like for the casuals? What are the casuals doing for that progression?
Tomb.
Everyone's doing Tomb.
Everybody's doing Tomb.
Yeah, the difference. So for the first week, the difference is going to be progression teams probably going to blast through normal in a couple of days, hopefully, and try to move on to heroic as soon as possible. The casual team, it's not going to be progression members. It's probably going to be a bit slower. Obviously, it's pretty much just the difference.
Yeah, the casual raid will be hanging around in regular Tomb for quite a while until we get everyone there geared up. Then we'll step up to heroic. By the time we step up to heroic and casual, the progression team will probably be neck deep in Mythic.
But, if you're not in progression raid or you're not doing the casual raid, make sure you're going into LFR Tomb and getting that fucking gear out of there, because it drops some decent gear in there. And it'll give you a chance to see some of the content as well. So don't, just wait on our raids to come up and go, okay, we're doing raid now. As soon as LFR is available, you need to be in there running it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just one thing, I guess. Sorry to interrupt you. If you're gonna come to raid, come prepared. There's too many people that just don't bring their shit. I don't know why. I know we supply stuff, but why? I don't know. I feel like you're just wasting time by keep asking for stuff. Come prepared. If you want to do it, why would you not come prepared?
Bring your bonus rolls and all that shit too.
You don't have the means or whatever to get. If for some reason you're low on gold or low on mats or whatever, dude, just ask before raid. Don't be asking, 8:15 rolls around. Really, we'd like everyone to be there at 8 o'clock, start clearing your trash, and then be doing the first pull by 8:15. That's the idea. Don't come at 8:15 and say, I need all my shit. No.
Yeah, if you need gems and chance blasts, it's okay if you get them the day before. We know what's coming up. Don't cut into the time on the raid. We usually only raid for a couple hours.
Merdissa, you had a question?
Would we be able to come all 7 days if we wanted to, or is that just for the people that are planning on being in Mythic?
That the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday are for progression only. Wednesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Monday are for casual only. So if you want to be on the progression team and you want to do all 7 days, you need to let Lay and Zeb know that you want to be on progression. And that is by tryout. And I believe our final tryout is on the...
I'll let Lay field that.
No, we know already. It is on the 15th. That is the last day that we will be trying out for progression. So come ready to do Heroic Nighthold because we're doing the farm that day. And that is the last raid we will be doing before Tomb drops.
Okay.
If you need gems, get with Jugs. I can make every gem that you need. If you need any kind of gem, I have more than enough mats. Just ask me, message me, whatever it might be, and we can get your gems worked out or whatever. And I know Winky's an enchanter, and he's really generous about getting mats. And I have some enchanting mats I can give him if he needs the help. But I mean,
I'm a
we
Joe
have
Crafter as well. There's another two.
we have plenty of
two of
people.
them.
We have plenty of people to get your stuff done. There's no reason for you not to have it done.
Yeah, if people need anything from any of the profession crafters, that you can just go to the guild tab and that there. Go under your roster, upper right hand corner, and click on professions, and that'll give you a list of everything.
Yeah, and Decipherable saying that he's a jewel crafter as well and he hoards mats. So. All right, any other questions, concerns, thoughts, ideas?
Alright guys, let me remind you that for 2 weeks you've got a free-for-all on getting your enchants, gems, and all that. Take advantage of it. You should not be going anywhere with no gems and enchants when it's all being provided for free for 2 weeks. We understand people are going to be going through a lot of gear. We know how fast it's going to change. Just ask.
And you would be surprised what a couple gems or an enchant will do for your stats.
All right. So thank you all. We appreciate your time, your effort, and we look forward to Tomb and rocking it out. I know we are going to do amazing things. Let's get out there and get as much gear beforehand and then take a big break. We're just going to rest. The 17th, 18th, and 19th, we're not doing anything. We're just chillaxing and hanging and having a good time and enjoying each other's company before we hit the ground hardcore on the 20th. All right?
Alright, thanks everyone, and have a great night.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a great night.